know where to go to get the best shit. So even if like you get inclined to be like, oh my god, I need to find where like the best gun is, you can't.
Damn, that's fucking cool.
Yeah,
I really like that because then everyone has like a different experience. Then, you know, like wake up one day and then someone comes up to you and goes, "Oh, have you been to that bit where you did this, this, and this?" I was like, "No."
Yeah, and then
no,
you get
I haven't
pissed.
done any of that.
And then you can't talk about it either, right? Because it's like you don't want to know, but like a lot of that, I don't know how deep it goes like that way. Like maybe certain items are always on certain planets or whatever. But I love the fact that I don't know. I like to read up on shit and talk about it. But like, there's always that one guy who like on day one looks at like some guide on the internet and they've got the best shit, and then they're just like, you didn't earn that.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I do that, but then again, I do that for stuff like WoW. Yeah, I'm all over that. Biz list, of course. You know. And like,
true.
You know, rotation and trinkets, everything. It's, you know, that definitely all about that for that kind of shit. But for this, like it looks like it's such an in-depth story that I wouldn't want to do that. You know.
Yeah, there's like, I forgot what they said. The number of shit that I need to limit how long I go on LOA for, because I know it could be 2 weeks, like easily.
Yeah. Do you think it's like? Do you think it's all gonna work? Is it gonna work?
I believe. Oh, that's a great fucking time for it. I love how, you know the meme where the to be continued meme. Yeah, the cliffhanger meme. I feel like that's what that was just there. To be determined? Yeah. TBA? Yeah, I just scored for it. I didn't. So you guys actually think that's a good idea? Oh, fuck, now the ads are playing, of course. Every time I'm trying to talk to you guys, like, fucking ad shows up, bro. Or do you like, what about the time? What about the time? Do you use the time and like know when I go live?
She a fucking klepto.
No, I know it already does on Discord. I just kind of assume that people like turn off those notifications and no one wants the Discord notification. I didn't realize you guys use that. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, Twitch. Yeah, it's been broken for 3 years. I'm familiar with that. Wait, there's a way to look? How do I see? Research. My research shows that... Okay, I'm looking at the research. Stream summary, maybe? %, of you come directly, but I imagine that's not good data because you may come directly. However, you know, how are we doing this thing? You probably come directly, like you probably see it, but then you type out the URL, I imagine. So, wait, is this today's stream? Chat messages. Oh, it does. Wait, you get live updates. What the fuck?
Oh, hey.
Yo. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So this is a bit of a continuation of our conversation over at SpaceX.
All right.
So I didn't know this was happening, but it did. Yesterday evening, I was called into a room with members of High Command.
Okay.
And I'm not saying this happened, but it definitely felt that way. Like aura in the air, questions that were being asked, like open at like, look, it was an interrogation. And the scope of it was, why do we know, trying to find the best way to phrase this. So no, I was brought into a room to effectively justify the war to members of High Command, but not in a manner that was, in a manner that seemed more of an interrogation than it was to learn. Now, I will say that it was handled relatively professionally. However, there is still a feeling in the back of my mind is that, do they truly believe that a sergeant in the UPD managed to get the Senate to go to war with Sanguine. Because
Okay,
if that is
are they
the
insinuating
case,
you fabricated it? Is that what you're saying?
oh, that was the vibe the day after the negotiations. I mean, Commissioner Justice was effectively asked whether the war was fabricated. The simple question of, like, we need receipts that you talked to the Senate was in and of itself underlinedly insubordinate, and that is the vibe a lot of members of this police department, I think, are functioning off of. Which,
Yeah.
as I mentioned the other day, what you witnessed at PBSO was exactly what transpired in that debrief.
Yeah.
Except the difference was, it was Axel explaining it and me coming in to try to, like, put the foot down. So we didn't have the backup that was had in 2 days ago. Right?
I'm sorry about that. I was there.
It doesn't bother me. However, what did is, why didn't they wait until you were around? Right. The second is, I maintain professionalism, but
Good.
I have to ask the following questions. Number one, I took this duty to run this investigative unit by the ask of the then commissioner, Soze. And I was told to operate under the commissioner's office for reasons that transpired today. Or not today, but over the last couple days. Reason being, part and parcel, T-sipping tends to be the primary objective of a lot of people in the department. I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to hide behind it. It just is. And I get it. I fuck with that too. But when there's work to be done, there's work to be done. And unless you're doing the work or there's a need, you don't need to know every fucking step of the way. I want to underline a couple things as well. Is, a lot of the shit was just generally disingenuous. I have to ask the question, how am I responsible that High Command is not communicating with each other? Or, if there's questions, why are they not coming in advance of all this? I mean, like, hey, what's going on? We need to know before negotiations take place. Why is it, while we are currently at war, it is now being asked?
Good question. Yeah. Things are already in motion now, regardless of whether we think that the negotiation went well or not.
Yeah,
we're at war. So we got to, in my opinion, we need to deal with that and then move on to other things if we need to. That's what I think. But it is what it is. Now, with regards to the information stuff, I know that there was a lot of upset around that. Obviously, I think we all knew that. But I will say I think it is good for them to know. I just wish that there had been a meeting or something with you guys sooner, or more communication, so that they were all on the same page or something like that. So when you say, so Bass knew everything, obviously.
Yes. As did Torelli, as did Svensson, kind of on a need to know because he felt like it was close proximity. Most of High Command was aware enough to a degree that they should have been monitoring it and asked when they should. That is my stance. And I think, quite frankly, why I don't take any agitation is because it's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, understandably. I think, like, when I heard this news, so I had that meeting with Divine, as you know, where he told me everything that was going on. That, for me, was enough information to want to go and deal with that island. Not necessarily how we're doing it now, but deal with it in some way, shape, or form. Which is why I approached you after I had that meeting and said, whatever's going on, I want it.
Yeah.
And other people aren't quite like that. They obviously haven't heard all of that context from Divine himself, and didn't hear all of that stuff necessarily, or didn't necessarily look at the information immediately, or they did.
That's the thing that was
Stubble, I know knew.
Yes. So why the fuck didn't he come to me or Axel until he needed to handle what was effectively a PR disaster? Why? Look, I can I speak a little freely?
Yeah, you can speak freely as you want.
I respect Stubble, great at what he does, but holy fuck, was that a pussy moment? Not backing the commissioner and trying to pull him back and say, I need this, but instead using it as a opportunistic way to effectively, there's so many different ways that this can be handled. So many different ways. But I cannot stand there and not be like, holy shit, that was some pussy shit. Letting your commissioner, who's been given orders by our bosses, the Senate comes in, they tell you to go do something, you're going to do it? I mean, best. Unless we're trying to like fucking put uranium into children, like into a fucking elementary school or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's a good line to draw. Yeah.
So, like, at some stage, you know these facts, and you undermine the guy right then and there. For what? It's kind of crazy to me. And I get the whole like backing your your department, whatever it is, but like at some stage, like priorities are not lined up appropriately. Like, this is war. This is not fucking feeling season. And if anything, I think that actually agitates that problem more, right? Which is disciplinary action is something that needs to be done. Like, you need to strike me, Snow? You got to suspend me? You know? Easy, right? However, if we let the bottom direct us, there is no direction.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to address different bits of what you just said. Okay. So basically, first of all, with your opinion on Stubble, I fucking love the guy. I find it very hard to speak badly of him, but I understand your stance in that particular situation.
This is in character. Stubble, streamer, great.
With
Brian's got to say this to his superior. I want to let you guys know this
feelings, etc.
in advance. Don't get too excited with what Brian's saying.
Unfortunately, well, it's hard for me to say. Unfortunately, it's in this police department. We have a lot of different people with a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different kinds of opinions and stances on different things.
Agreed.
Now, in a police department in another city per se, let's say NYPD, for example, the chain of command is the chain of command, and there is no going outside of that. Otherwise, you get fucked, right? And that is a very, very serious thing. Here, opinions are listened to far more, which can be, it's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Because then, as you said, you kind of lack that direction, as you said, from one particular party, and instead you're kind of taking direction from feelings of those from below. Unfortunately, well, no, I'm not going to say unfortunately. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm sorry. It's not unfortunate. In this city, it's our chain of command is important. I find it so hard to put this into words. Our chain of command is very, very important, right? But sometimes, in order for all of us to be able to make the best and most informed decisions, hearing the opinions of everybody else around us is extremely beneficial. But also, not only just opinions, but also troubles and complaints and things that they think are stupid, things that they think are not. For us to be able to get everybody on board with things and win, most importantly, the hearts and minds of the people, is to really hear them and hear them out and understand how it is they feel sometimes. Now,
I 1000% agree with you.
Yeah. It's like, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm not the kind of person, as I said in that meeting in FIB, emotions get you killed. And they most certainly do with this kind of stuff. Most certainly do. But in order to win these people over and have them with us and not lacking the support that we need to get this job done, sometimes people got to know more and to be able to be won over, even if we think that them knowing more could be a danger to our operation. Because in that kind of situation, you kind of have to weigh out what it is we need more. And honestly, we need the people more than being not overly cautious, but too cautious with our information.
I agree with you. I absolutely do. However, and I bit my tongue because I knew right there and then, strategically, for the bigger picture, I needed to maintain my professionalism and not bring up some of these topics at the time. Because specifically,
you see that 3-1 from Bayweather?
Yeah, I've got, they're already spotting him. It's, TJ Walker.
Yeah, does that mean he's doing a flight test with my flight school right now?
Oh yeah, that's the second topic I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
How do I put this? Look, I don't get my feelings hurt all too much. I've been through the various cycles of, as a cadet, way too much of a, man, why isn't he learning quick enough? Or whatever it was. Then the crim cop. Then the things that I'm not going to mention, right? Why is there a certain, why is it all, a certain type of people that are in this department or that department or what, it's always every 6 months like a new story. It doesn't bother me, right?
Yeah.
And in general, it doesn't bother me because, like I said, it is an embarrassment. However, I am more looking at this from the perspective of there is a war and I want our success. And it is just absolutely ridiculous. Number one, even when we're talking about communication, why is my direct superior not being brought into the meeting? Now, I understand, I don't think you knew that this was even going to happen. I think it was impromptu.
No, I didn't know it was going to happen. I had, so obviously Richard came to me about his gripes with the meeting you guys had.
Yeah.
And yeah, I figured there would probably be a conversation at some point, but I was hoping to be informed on it.
Well, the worst of it was the ending was, next time don't be insubordinate or something. And I was like, was I being insubordinate? And he said, I told you to give me the information that was given to the Senate. And I said, I didn't have the right to do so because it came from a higher, part of the chain. And he said, you still need to give it. And I asked him, if the commissioner tells me to do something and then you give me a contrary directive, who do I follow? And he suggested I need to follow him. So
can I give some suggestions for how?
Yeah,
I'm going to be. Can I be a backseat Andy?
Yes, please.
A hindsight.
I'm
Andy?
ignoring that directive because that's idiotic and that's not what chain of command is. But
yeah, I think what would have been best would, as annoying and as frustrating this may have been, sir, I think it's best we go to the commissioner and we speak about this with him and we push out the information after that conversation with it. Okay.
That's the thing.
What?
My answer when he asked for it, I'm like, I don't know if I can give it to you. I need to ask the commissioner and like the Senate. Like some random who just wants the information. What I'm telling by it's not mine to give. It's literally coming from a step above him.
God, that is an absolute minefield of chain of command. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I think. Here's the thing. Technically, he's kind of right, but also he's not, because if you're given a directive by a higher rank, then you have to follow that. But then if you're given a directive from a rank that's slightly below that, what the fuck are you supposed to do? That is a bit of a mindfuck.
And that's what it's been. I mean, I was told need to know basis. You cannot tell anybody. And once I knew Toretti was in the loop, Svensson. I mean, I was calling Svensson even. I was like, hey, this shit's happening, and he wanted to keep a bit of a distance because of his relationship with Divine, etc. Everyone, but the chairman, I'm telling you, half of high command knew this stuff. The problem I got is, in my opinion, it was absolutely a moronic decision for us to do what was perceived to be the right thing and had a debrief, an unprepared debrief following the negotiation.
Yeah. Did you tell Axel not to do that?
I did.
Why didn't he listen?
I didn't even know. I tried to, but I think the problem was he was getting a bit of pressure, which wasn't fair to him to begin with.
No.
Because why are your subordinates pressuring you into doing something idiotic? Now, and I'm going to paint part of this, right? Sometimes the loud voices dictate the marching orders, right? And to give you an idea of what I mean by that is what I perceive as a rather sob story that Thatch told in front of the entire crowd of individuals. And I understand his position from like a investment perspective, right? He invested a lot into this unit. Understandable, right? I wish I was more involved. He's right. However, that feeling should not dictate a level of the questions that were asked and the statements that he made is that he was completely out of the loop. And I don't want to paint this as like he's the only issue here, right? Or rather an example that easily stands out and I can speak to is he was privy to the information for 72 hours leading up to and during. He not only heard the speech I gave that dictated the entire outline of what was transpiring days before the negotiation, before the end of the 48 hours. He was present in the debrief prior to the negotiation led by the commissioner. And somehow he didn't hear the multiple times these things were brought up, right? And if that is truly a concern by the HVTU or the SRU not being involved, despite elements of them being in, having access, knowing that these things are taking place, likely ignoring them all until it's too late. If all those things are true, why the fuck did I have 6 detectives yesterday on the Leviathan who, number 1, got the radio station of the island, number 2, planted cameras around the island to allow us to monitor, were able to hear that it was Forehead taking out the aircraft, which we're going to hit that topic, and who was the shooter? Forehead, with his state ID, with acknowledgement of his name, and what their plans are. They have a fucking bunker.
ID?
Yes.
How the fuck do they get his state ID?
Because they said it over the radio. And simultaneously on a different station, 6 of us.
Holy shit.
6 of us. We're also giving directives to the jets that were scrambled out to deal with the planes going up and down. Oh yeah, that's going to be a bigger issue in a moment.
I'm not impressed. Another one went down today as well. Not because it was shot down, but because they went too far south.
And you know what happened on the phone call while this is all happening, and I'm getting this like red tape, is that I'm telling them that they're bringing information to Stubble that is like regarding this thing, and he's fucking ignoring them. Things revolving around the fucking war. So it's all a fucking sham. Now, here's the worst thing. When I called him, where was SRU? Where has SRU been? Why are borders not, why isn't there at least 2 SRU units? Who's doing it? We are. So, and it's not like this information isn't there. I am spamming this shit on 311. Jets are in the air. We know that there's people going back and forth with Sanguine. No one's responding. -2 of the Air Corps units. I make the phone call. This guy's running, and I'm here, Stubble, going, hey, stop chasing down Eugene. He's got 3 warrants right now. He gives the same warning 10 minutes later. The guy who's complaining about not SRU being involved is sitting seaside or fucking landside. Where the fuck are they? What's happening over the weekend? Right? Where are the plans? You get my perspective here? Yeah. It's just kind of compounding. I'm just like, this is fucking ridiculous in general. But anyways.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of inquiry that happens after this is all over, to be honest. There seems like there's so many angles where there's things that have gone wrong. It's just a fucking, it's an absolute nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah.
And, we're going into a very, very serious situation where some of us might not come back.
Yeah.
And having all this going on while we're trying to prepare for something like that, it does nobody any fucking good. We need to get this job done and focus one thing. All of our power needs to be focused on one thing, protecting the city and pushing this fucking island on Monday. That's where our efforts need to be.
1,000%.
I don't understand why we have priorities in other places right now, such as, questioning you for stuff. I mean, I think it's good that you guys had the meeting so they got all the information they got. Very, very good. That's fucking great. That needed to happen anyway. But man, a lot of this other stuff, I just think, we need to kind of table it and just be like, okay, this is something we need to deal with, but we need to deal with this shit first. That's how I feel about it.
It's the general, I don't think if the individual running the war does not even believe the Senate, what the fuck? Should I be surprised when there's messaging that says do not even sway opinions? What in the fucking world is that? Someone comes up to you like, what are your thoughts on war? What's going on? Well, I can't talk to you about it because I don't want to sway you one way or another. What? It is so mind-blowingly insane to me that these are even options that cannot even be discussed. It's actually absolutely mind-blowing. We're going to fucking war. Regardless of whether you agree with it or not, say your piece, but it's absolutely ridiculous. Just because a handful of people are up in arms against it, that what we're going to bend over backwards when our fucking state is currently under fire? Hell fucking no. I am holding myself back from going over there all blacked out with a goddamn sniper rifle and putting a bullet in Jaeger's head, maybe planting a goddamn nuke. The fact that we got high command members who are communicating with the enemy. You think the rest of high command knows that?
Saying what?
Oh, man. If you looked at these subpoenas and the information coming out. Now, don't get me wrong. Trey Romano and TJ Walker are spinning a nice fucking tale. But you know what? Who's
Speaking
feeling?
of the devil, TJ just texted me.
Who's getting it? Hook, line, and sinker. The imbecile's at the top there, Snow, and I have no problem putting in that adjective, because right now it's like a bunch of chickens with their head cut off, scrambling to find a reason as to why they weren't involved with the decisions. They should have been fucking involved much earlier, just by paying the fuck attention.
Fuck me.
There was one mistake that Axel made, and I'm going to talk to him about it. Is that the moment that debrief happened, it should have been a call to fucking arms, not a call for anti-war sympathizers or people, I don't know, that enjoy that island too much and are willing to look past all the fucking. So I drive through this city and I've got Harmony checking their bombs, saying who fucking raw, we want to get involved with the war. Civilians, hell, if the fucking gang's got our fucking back and it's only this department that's like split down the middle, something is wrong. And then I can't be surprised when individual on the street question whether we are there to protect them or only protect our own, because that is the messaging I am seeing. It is fucking embarrassing.
It is. We live in a world where all of that is very likely. Unfortunately, it's I'm not. I don't know. People, did you see what I put in the SASP area about this whole thing?
Yeah, that was well done.
Thanks. That's all I really. I gave them my reasoning for going, and I told them I wouldn't look down on them if they didn't want to go, ever. But I also don't want to see people looking down on those that decide to go, and that's part of the reason why I kicked off in that meeting the other day, because it felt like people were just treating the whole thing as a joke. I'm willing to go and lay my life down because I believe these motherfuckers, have been directly contributing to things where we've lost lives, we've lost part of our family in state. Angel's lost a fucking arm. I don't know. For me, I don't need much reason to go, but obviously those guys do. And
do they though? And that's the thing still. I know there are people that need that reason, right? I'm with you 1000%. But why is it that those that weren't going to go in the first place even putting their hand in the fucking cooking jar? That's where I get twisted. And to entertain that malice is what is ridiculous. But anyways,
yeah,
I wanted to let you know how things were on my end, because like I said, I wasn't gonna pop off.
You can talk to me about. No, listen. You could, if you need to pop off at anybody, just make sure it's at me. Okay. I would much rather you pop off at me in a way. Well, if it's directed at me, that's fine too. I prefer you be direct with me, to be honest with you. But with if you need to pop off or rant about something, I'm always here to do that. Okay.
Yep.
If you need me to come into the city so that you can rant and talk your shit, so you got it off your chest, I can do that. So just, I have never have an issue with it. Now, with what I think we should do with this stuff, like I said about the other problems, we need to table this shit, focus on what's important, get that job done, and then we'll focus on all this bullshit, this politics bullshit. Okay?
1000% agreed. I told MCU detectives who have been feeling kind of way, is like, look, we've been working this for 4 fucking months, putting our life on the line, and we're getting stoneballed by the guy that we're supposed to get sign-offs for this war. And I told them, like, listen, fuck all that shit. Let me tank it. Just keep doing you, because right now, like you said, bigger priorities at play. We're at war. Fuck all the noise.
Yeah. You, from the sounds of it, you guys are doing fantastic work in MCU, and I just want you to focus all your energy on that. Keep doing what you're doing. If you need if you need someone to deal with politics bullshit, that's when you call me. Okay, I am your politics shield person thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I will.
Okay.
I am gonna mildly confront Axel. I don't think it's gonna be more of a one-on-one. Can I take the gloves off sort of thing? Because he did give me some directives and then sat back. And
well, that's a conversation for you two. I'm not going to get too involved in that unless you need me to. So
yeah.
The MCU shit is I'm never going to try and tell you what to do with that stuff. So that that is your baby. If you need me to do something for it, I will. But I'm never going to tell you how to do your job with that shit. I
appreciate that.
I ran CID a long time ago. It was very, very different back then. Frankly, things were a lot simpler, and I wish. I kind of wish you could have seen it when where things were a little bit simpler, Ryan, to be honest with you. But
no, I mean, look, I used to work with you back in the day. Things were, it was significantly different. Now, there's a call for dissertations and, it's wild. I just, like I said, I'm more embarrassed, for us than anything else.
Well, fuck the embarrassment stuff. Let's focus on what we have and be proud of those that are wanting to go and kick ass for us, because there's a lot of them. A lot of very, very good ones, too. And honestly, after conversations that we've had with various different people in different shifts, people have said, okay, well, I'm going to go. Castleman was one person who very firmly did not want to go after that debrief. He changed his mind. Thankfully, he's coming with us, and we're going to have him in the air. So,
good shit.
God. Yeah. So let's focus on all this bullshit. Get this island dealt with. And then once the dust settles from that, we'll deal with the politics. Okay.
Absolutely. The other thing I want to bring up is I did talk to Lovesick, and I'm getting very confused because we have. So I'm going to talk to Stubble about it because I'm getting like mixed answers to this. Is during the operation yesterday, and I'm not going to place this on Barrick. I don't know where the directives are coming from, quite frankly. I did bring up in the meeting, but while we were doing everything yesterday, we were able to track 7 helicopters in a span of 2 hours that